a new Trump index fund that includes XRP. All right, we also have some news with the Xrpdocument shares spot XRP being approved. It's going to hit the market, and we did get a rate cut today. I want to cover what's that going to mean for the crypto market, as well as give you a ton of other XRP news and information. Let's start here. Here, 21 shares XR has been approved. SIBO, December 10th. You will get this video today, so you will have this information live around noontime today. We had about $10 million in spot XRP ETFs, and so I'm waiting to get some more information. So it looks like inflows have been down a little bit here, 3 hours left here at $13 million. So it has been steadily climbing. Hopefully we'll hit about 15 to 20 million today. Also, Bitwise Index Fund started at 1.25 billion in total assets under management, and XRP represents 5.16% of the fund. If you're not familiar with how much this is another $64.5 million going in buying fresh XRP off the open market. Bitwise dropped their latest ETF asset return table. In XRP, this is the only asset that ranked in the top 3 performers in 6 of the last 12 months. Flows don't lie. Momentum is building beneath the surface. If you've been tuned out, it's now time to lean in. So you ever watched, I mean, not like you have enough time to do this, but you cook in, you put some water, you put a pot, and the water starts to boil, and that pressure starts to build. That is what we're talking about here. All of this pressure is building underneath. Most people cannot see it because all of this buying and selling is happening off of exchanges. It's happening on these OTC desk and dark pools. Those OTC desk and dark pools are running low on XRP. As soon as they run out, there's only a few places that they're going to be able to go. If they want instant XRP, they're going to be forced to go to exchanges. If they can go to Ripple and work out some side round deal to buy through ODL or some other way, they will have to do that only once a month. And once you go through that XRP, Ripple would have to say, okay, we'll give you 100 million XRP, we'll give you 50 million, whatever it is. That's going to go pretty quickly, right? And Ripple being stewards of the XRP ledger, who knows what they're going to say, right? They might not want to give any of that XRP up. We'll have to see. Trump Index Fund on standby, and XRP is included. Political capital plus financial capital aligning around the same asset is not an accident. They know exactly which assets survive regulation. Okay, all right, the proposed product in a multi-coin spot ETF built around Bitcoin and ETH with XRP as a smaller but explicit component. Here's a concise breakdown. So based on the fund structure, the product is called Truth Social Crypto Blue Chip ETF and is organized a Nevada business trust sponsored by the Yorkville American Digital. It aims to list New York Stock Exchange ACRA and issue shares that directly reflect the value of the underlying crypto held in the trust. The portfolio weight index here is going to be Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, Kronos, and XRP. It looks like XRP is 5% and Crow is 5%. I wonder why. The Trump family bought a lot of Xrpdocument. This is why. Do you think the Trump family honestly knows about XRP? I know Jake Claver said that he's had conversations with Eric Trump. If that's the case, why don't they have more XRP? Why aren't they doing more for XRP? I don't know. I always thought that was a little weird when he said that. Obviously, if that's going to be the new system, Xrpdocument, you're buying more Xrpdocument than you are XRP. That just doesn't make sense to me, but all good. I just wanted to point out the way that I'm feeling about it. This structure is filed with the SEC in a Form S1, but the ETF cannot launch until the registration statement is declared effective and related 19B4 exchange rule change filing. So they're waiting for some more paperwork. This should be maybe over the line here soon enough. Yes, the United States is focused on CBDC interoperability through Fed. Now, this is interesting. So here's a new document here. International Comparison of CBDC Developments Focus on Interoperability with Fed. And so here is what the document they're referring to. The United States is playing a deliberate double game. Washington's public, their comments around CBDCs looks confusing only if you ignore the the broader strategy. The US is almost certainly to launch a CBDC, just not yet. For now, it is delaying its own digital dollar to preserve the strength of the current system. At the time, it was using its influence across the global financial infrastructure, such as SWIFT and Fedwire, to slow the progress of competing projects like the digital euro and the digital yuan. This is a geopolitical move designed to prevent rival CBDCs from gaining momentum while the American timeline remains paused. In parallel, the US is promoting private USD-backed stablecoins and encouraging institutions like SWIFT to support them as a preferred digital expression of the dollar. This pressure is one of the reasons the European Union is accelerating the work on a digital euro. So the reason the European Union is accelerating is because 99% of the stablecoins in the crypto market right now are dollar-backed, and they understand if they don't make some moves quickly before other countries do, that, the euro could become less used, especially in this digital infrastructure that we are currently seeing. So they want to have a seat at the table, and that is why they are pushing forward quickly and do diligently with a digital euro. And you are going to probably see that. I would imagine the timeline for this, they're going to launch the testing next year in 26. They said they were going to launch the retail version in 29. But I do think if everything goes well in 26, they could move up that timeline if they so choose to. So, I wouldn't underestimate what the, euro is doing with the digital euro. I'd imagine they want to get that done. Now, you have had some confusing policy remarks here in the United States, so let's catch up on what those were. The images reflect the U.S. policy except to rely on FedNow and private stablecoins in the near term, while deliberately slowing any move to full retail digital dollar. At the current law, plus Trump's own order to make a retail CBDC very unlikely without a future act of Congress. A tokenized wholesale dollar inside the banking system remains more plausible and an incremental step, but even that would need to be structured carefully to avoid conflicting with the new statutory and executive bans. So here's the status of the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. The Anti-CBDC Surveillance State passed the House in July 2025, but has not passed the Senate, so that is not a law yet. Separately, Trump issued in January 2025 executive orders directing federal agencies not to issue or advance a CBDC without explicit congressional authorization, and House committee reports emphasized that the Fed currently lacks legal authority to issue a retail CBDC for individuals. I think the Trump administration probably, kind of screwed up here. I think there was a lot of misinformation out in the public about CBDCs, and they took this harsh stance against them.